Of course, shrinkflation does not actually apply to the current economic situation. The Biden economy is poor. There's a lot of inflation. It's not actually easing. By the way, payroll just got revised sharply downward for January. So, again, the funny numbers, the fuzzy math continues to get exposed. It's just it always gets exposed belatedly, unfortunately. So very few people know or care. But he was rambling about shrinkflation and talking about how, well, you know, you used to get this box of cereal and then they kept putting more air in it and stuff. That is true. Fact check, true, but it doesn't apply to the situation. Shrinkflation applies to when companies, to increase profit margins, reduce the amount of a product while maintaining the price. This is not shrinkflation, though. This is them saying we can either raise the price of the product, giving people sticker shock, or we can reduce the size of the product and maintain the price that they're used to, and many companies have opted for the latter. They're not doing that in order to make additional profit. They're doing that in order to maintain their current profit margin. That's because of Bidenflation. Biden will not explain this to people. Many people do not understand even how inflation works, and so trying to explain it to them generally is bullshit. Bidenflation and shrinkflation are not the same thing. If I'm paying 10% more to create the product, I can either raise prices commensurate with that, or I can reduce the amount of product and maintain the price. Ta-da! Long as it's not shrinkflation, it's Bidenflation. It's not because companies are trying to bilk you. It's because companies are trying not to go out of business. In other words, they coined that term during the inflationary cycle of the 70s, and then it also applied. I would point out that there's also one other glaring difference that Biden never addresses, and he lived through it because he was a senator at the time. The other problem was the deceptive labeling and the deceptive packaging. Because in the old school shrinkflationary cycle, companies would keep the same size of the box, and they literally were putting less and less cornflakes in it. These days, of course, that's already been cracked down on, and so they have to reduce the size of the package commensurate with that. And so, at the very least, you're seeing the product as it actually is.